welcome to my channel, Sweet Shawnee. My name is Shauna. Here I'm just going to bring you a story about how I lost my friendship with my best friend. Alright, so here it is. Me and this girl, we became best friends, I want to say junior year of high school. So this is someone that I did meet in high school. I did meet through another mutual friend of ours. We became bench and buddy. That was my A1 since day one. That was my girl, okay? So let's see. Our relationship, it was like we were total opposites, but we worked like half the stuff that she liked. And if we let's put it this way, if we were to be roommates, we would have been the best roommate. We would have got along. Anything that she had in the fridge, I wouldn't have touched, and anything I had in the fridge, she wouldn't have touched. That's just the best way I could put it, because we always talked about like, oh, let's move in together, get an apartment, because at least I know how, well, this is what we think. I'm not going to say we know, but this is what I think, is that like, hey, we know that if we lived together, we probably would get along most, unlike, you know, the horror stories that you hear out there. So, as I mentioned, I did meet this girl junior year of high school. And I didn't meet this girl in high school. We didn't get close until junior year of high school, and that was because my friends at that time, we were in a group. They all transferred out because they were getting into a lot of fight. So yeah, that's a story for another time. All right, so let's get into it. Even after high school, she was my girl. Whenever we wanted to do something, some type of quick trip, travel somewhere, that's the person I would call on. She would always be available. So in order for you guys to understand like why I'm confused as to why the friendship ended, I'm just going to give you a story of like the type of friendship we had, and give you a story of like where it went wrong, because I know where it went wrong. And yes, a man is involved. And then, you know what, we're going to just have a conversation, pretty much. All right, boom. So as I mentioned, I know I keep saying this, but we met in high school. Our friendship really took off junior year, when out of our big friend group that we had, she was the only one that pretty much stayed. And senior year into college, she was the person that I would always rely on, because not that I had abandonment issue, because I was still friends with the girls that left, but I grew closer to her because she never did. Okay, so you know, our friendship got stronger. She was the more aggressive one in the relationship, so if something is not right and she don't like something, she's gonna let it be known. I'm more of the peacemaker, where, you know what, they may have did me this, but it's okay. I'm watching you from now on. I know how you move, but I'm not going to say anything. But if you do it again, I will address it. That's pretty much the relationship is. She's the first one like, let's fix this right now, and I'm the like, let's chill. Like, it's no big deal. It's no harm, no foul. Like, if they didn't harm me in any type of way, it is what it is. Also, like, throughout the year, she's the person that never really had female friends like that. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory of her friendship with her ex-best friend before me. So pretty much the relationship was this. And I want you guys to keep this in mind, because this backstory came full circle when later on as to like why our friendship really didn't work out that way, okay? So keep this story in mind. So the story with her ex-best friend, she told me this, was that her ex-best friend at the time was dating this guy, and she was all for this guy. So whenever they hang out, she have to be around this guy. Whenever they're planning to do something, just them two, the guy always shows up, and she was like, oh, let's go see him. Her ex-best friend was like, oh, you're jealous of my relationship, like, oh my god, blah blah blah. So pretty much her ex-best friend was chose pretty much her relationship over their friendship. And this is someone that was friends with her since they were in diapers. Like, they were in a long friendship. Right before, I think their friendship ended probably freshman year of high school. Like, that's pretty much how it was, right? So she was really hurt from that, and I understand, like, how could you choose your, like, when you're in a relationship and you have a friendship, you have to balance them both. So she was hurt, so she was very picky of like who she called her best friend and when she get close to females. Now, she's a very beautiful girl. I need to give her a name for this story. So I'm gonna call her Rose because she's beautiful, well poised, but you know those thorns she could knock and she will come at you, okay? She's not scared to speak her mind. She's not a fighter like that. Like, don't get me wrong, she's not a fighter, but when you do her wrong, she is going to address it, and she don't care what you have to say about it. She's going to let you know that she doesn't like X, Y, and Z, which I respected and I love about her, because I was never like that. I was just like, you know what, keep it cute, keep it quiet. I'm the person just that you like, you're like, oh, watch out for that quiet person, because when they get, yeah. All right, so yeah, I'm kind of off topic. So yeah, so that's what happened with her friendship. When me and her got close, she told me, and she was like, yeah, she was really hurt, she was butthurt, blah blah blah. End up being that her ex-best friend and that boy, they broke up, and she tried to get back in her life. And I was the one encouraging, like, yeah, well, like, hey, you know what, she probably learned her lesson, blah blah blah, why not? She's like, nope, that's it, cut it. And she's one person that, like, if you did her wrong, she's going to cut it, and there's no coming back. And I know this because she was ready to cut off her own mom, because she and her mom had a really toxic relationship, and I think she cut off one of her older sisters too. Yeah, that time she did, because they had some type of falling out, and she was about to cut off, she was ready. She don't care, family member, friends, she was ready to cut it all off. She don't care, she don't feel like she needs you. That's it. All right, so that's her. I am more of the person, I think I got this from my dad, because he's such a sweetheart. I'm more like, you know what, even my family done me wrong, like, I'll be mad, but at the end of the day, that's family. And my boyfriend hates this about me, like, he's like, oh, people are gonna walk all over you and do this, but I'm like, they're not doing that though. Like, they're apologetic. If they're apologetic and they, you know, they treat me different, or not if they treat me different, but if they understand what they did is wrong, then I'm a forgiver. I'm going to forgive you up until a certain point, because I do have a story about an ex-best friend from middle school that I gave, I think, 2 or 3 cut it. Like, I gave her too many chances. But on to the next one. So yeah, back to her. So Rose and me were bench and bati. We literally was really close. Like, when I said I love this chick, like, bro, if I was a dude, she would have been the love of my life. Like, I love Rose, and when I love you hard. When I call you my best friend, it is what it is. I have another best friend that literally somebody jumped her in high school. I fought them. Like, I'm going to fight for you. I am that type of person. Like, when I love, and I love hard, I love my man hard, I love my friends hard. Like, I love hard. My family, everybody, okay? If you're in my circle, just know you got a real one right here, okay? So, damn, just thinking about it's kind of got me teary-eyed when I just did my makeup for this video. So we're not gonna do it, Shauna. We're not gonna do it. Okay, so I love her. Oh my god. Okay, one second, because I really love this chick. Alright, so this is where pretty much, like, I want to say things got a little, well, we both broke up with I think we both had a relationship that lasted 3 years. And it was both long distance, because her boyfriend at the time lived in Virginia and mine lived in Maryland. Well, and then he moved to the military and stuff like that. But yeah, we both had a long distance relationship, very long relationship, because me and my ex-boyfriend at the time didn't break up until, I want to say, when I was in college, and we started dating since I was 14, 15, around that time. So yeah, and she was the same thing. We both had relationships, we both had long distance, and we both pretty much, like, ended our relationship around the same time. Let's flash forward a couple years later. So we were in the dating scene. We were, you know, no one really understood, like we would talk about the man that we were talking to at the time or the guy that we're dating, but no guy, like, you know, once you introduce your friend to your guy, that is going to be your guy. Like, you're really taking him serious. You would tell your friends about them, but once y'all meet that face to face, y'all know that relationship, that means something. So most of the guys she would know about, I would send her pictures, of course, and she would know about them, but we never really, you know, we never really took someone that serious. But so we tried online dating. She told me about this website called OkCupid, where it didn't work out for me, but it worked out perfectly for her. I think to this day she's still dating him. I'm not sure. We don't really talk like that anymore. I hope she was really dating him because he's really a good guy for her. But she met this guy on OkCupid, and they've been, let me see, she started talking to him when we were like, 22, 23 years old. So around when we were 22, 23, she started talking to this guy, and then they end up in a relationship. And I was a big supporter because I love love, and I love when my friends fall in love and stuff like that. So I was like, yes girl, go with him. I remember at one point, oh my god, she was, okay, this is another thing about her, she was the crazy one in the relationship. I am the more like, oh no, let's not. So I remember there was this guy that I was talking to, and she was talking to her boyfriend, well, her now boyfriend, because we both started talking to this guy at the same time, and they weren't responding back to us. And she was like, let's pull up. And I'm like, no, I don't want to look that crazy. And I was like, no. So she was like, you know what, I'm gonna pull up. And I'm like, oh god, here we go. So she pulled up on him, and I was on the phone with her, and she was like, why you not returning my calls, and blah, 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 blah. And honest to God, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I don't remember like why he wasn't doing it, but I know it was a good reason. He was going through something, and you know, the relationship was fresh, and she was just acting like that crazy girl. But you know what, he pretty much like explained it to her. They were back on track. And she was trying to encourage me to pull up on the guy that I was talking to. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Where, you know, when you start talking to a guy and then everything was good, and then I don't know where it just stops, it slowly trickled down to the point where, like, it is what it is. So I'm not a chaser. Like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But if it works out, it works out. Like, my philosophy, if you're interested in me and I'm interested in you and we're having good conversation, you know, there's nothing wrong. It is what it is. Like, we will talk to each other. But if I'm putting more effort than I see that you're doing, then I'm just gonna step back and just like let the cards play. Like, if I'm texting you every day saying good morning, when it used to be you texting me every morning, because I know you were up before me and you used to do it, and then now all of a sudden I'm doing it, I know that like something is changing. Like, females, y'all know, even some y'all females, and y'all know when the person, your partner that you're trying to have a conversation with, trying to get to know, y'all trying to date, and everything is good in the beginning, like the first 2 months, and then out of nowhere, like, they're not returning text messages, they're not returning their calls, they're not calling you back when they say they're going to call you back. So that was what was happening. I'm not someone that's going to keep giving you my 100% if I see that you're giving me 20. Like, that's just not what's going to happen. So eventually me and the dude stopped talking, but she and her dude kept on talking. So I'm like, yeah, that's it, best friend. Go ahead. And he was a good guy. He had a job. He wasn't disrespectful. He wasn't cheating on her. He wasn't doing this. He didn't have any baby mamas and dramas and all that other stuff. So me as a logical person saying that, oh, not that he's perfect, because obviously every guy's have their flaws, but he is a good dude. Like, yo, keep on it. He does have his like communication issues and stuff like that. Hold on one sec. All right, sorry. So he does have his like communication issues and stuff like that, but to me that's something that could be worked on. As long as he's not abusing you, he's not beating you, he's not disrespecting you and stuff like that. Like, if it's stuff like communication and stuff like that, as long as he's willing to work on it, then it could be worked on. So I remember, we're going to fast forward a couple months down the line, almost a year into the relationship. She was having issues with his communication and stuff like that, right? Like he wasn't speaking to her, like whenever we have an issue, or, you know, pretty much like the communication was bad. She's not, as I mentioned, she's not one person to not let you know how you feel, but he was more like me. He was more laid back, and I knew he was more laid back. I knew, like, the type of person he was chill. He's not the type of person to let you know what's going on in his mind right now unless it's really, really bothering him, right? So she was like, I can't believe this. And I'm like, yo, chill. She was literally on the point where she wanted to break up with him, and I had to talk her off that ledge. Like, bro, when I tell you, like, she was just like, nah, he's not communicating as good as I want him to do. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. And I'm like, what do you mean he's not doing it? Is he cheating on you? Is he disrespecting you? Is it something that cannot be fixed right now? Do you love this man? Do you want to build something with this man? Like, I didn't know what the issue was. So I had to, like, bring her to her senses. And I'm like, at the end of this, like, I remember I had a conversation with her, and I was like, listen, at the end of the conversation, if you still want to go move forward with breaking up with him, then I'm going to support you. Like, you're my best friend. Like, he's nothing to me. But I'm going to, like, talk to you, like, put some sense in your damn head, okay? Like, sorry, my patois is coming out every once in a while. Sorry, guys. But, I was like, listen, I'm still going to try to see what the issue is. Tell me what the issue is, right? So, we had a conversation, and then she was like, you know what, Shauna, you're right, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The relationship is back on track, guys. Remember, this time, I'm still dating people, not really taking anyone seriously, blah, 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 blah. So, we're going to move forward to 2019. That is where I meet my still not boyfriend. I don't think I want to call his name. But yeah, that is where I still meet my still not boyfriend. I'm just going to call him boyfriend, right? So me and him, we started talking. And eventually we met up. Now, here's a little story about our relationship. Me and this boyfriend, we met up at this pier for 2 weeks straight at a beach, just talking, walking the pier, having that conversation like, oh, what do you want in life? Where do you see yourself? Just building that relationship. I did tell her about him because I was texting him first. We met online and stuff like that. I did tell her about him. Obviously, she knew about him, but I don't think she took it as seriously. And again, this relationship now is my first serious relationship since the ex that I broke up with back in college, like early college days. This is now I'm 25 years old. Well, that time I'm not 25 no more. But that time I was 25 years old, and she's been in her relationship for 3 years now, right? And okay, before I get into that, rewind. They were in a relationship for 3 years. I forgot to mention this. And now they're thinking about settling down, moving in together, and all the other stuff. So I was telling her oh, okay, what's up? What y'all plan to do? What's the move? And she's like, Shauna, I've been wanting to move out of New York. I'm not sure if I said this in the video, but we're from New York. I've been wanting to move out of New York. And that's something for me too. I don't, New York is expensive. As a 25-year-old, unless you're making really good money, it's really expensive to live on your own out there. Oh my God. So it was always a plan for both of us to move out of New York, but we had the plan, we were in high school, we're gonna be neighbors, we're gonna live in the state. And technically, when me and her were thinking about moving out to New York, we're thinking about Maryland, Pennsylvania, not too far, probably New Jersey, not too far, 4 hours away at most. Eventually, it come to find out he would have moved to either Maryland or DC because he wanted he was going to work for the government pretty much, and the jobs that he was interviewing for were in the DC area. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you which part of the government it's for. It's definitely a really good paying job, and it's something to do with security. Okay, not Homeland Security, but just like the country security and stuff like that. So it was like a government job, right? And they were looking at houses in Virginia and Maryland and the DC and Washington DC area, right? Because that's where he was interviewing for. So I was supporting. I was like, oh, you gonna move out before me? I'm gonna be visiting you. Like, we were just making plans, okay? And we were just talking, and she was, oh, they're going to Virginia, they're going to Pennsylvania, they're going to Maryland, they're going to DC to look at houses, to do some type of like fitness test, and stuff like that, because they do have to do their test and whatever. Enough about that story. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Like, that was like where we were headed. Now, she was living her life, building with her relationship, and I was still building my life, living my life, working, you know, dating, doing stuff. So now we fast forward to 2019, and I met my boyfriend. We met in August of 2019. I remember, it was like almost September, and I told her like, hey, I'm getting serious about this dude, blah, 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 blah. And then she was like, okay, cool, whatever. I see that you're happy. At first, she was really down for it, right? And then I remember I went on my first vacation with this dude in September. And then it's like every other weekend or so, me and my boyfriend would hang out. And, you know, it's a new relationship. I'm still keeping my friend informed. It's not like I'm stopped texting her or anything like that. But my attention went from you to is pretty much going to him now. I'm going to nourish this relationship, right? And my boyfriend was at the time, he was like, yo, if you have plans with your friends, it is what it is. Just let me know. We'll switch over whatever plan. Because he always wanted to go somewhere. We'll drive to upstate. We'll drive to Connecticut. Like, not too far away, like 2 hours drive the most. Sometimes we go hiking upstate and stuff like that, right? So we will do different things on weekends. You know, we're building a relationship. We're adults. We're just like living life, okay? So at first she made a comment. She was like, oh, I see you're taking him a little bit serious. And I'm like, yeah. I was just in my like, you know, the goggles of like love and just like, oh my god, yes, he's doing this, he's doing that, we're going here, we're going there. And then, you know, after a month we went to we went to Miami. That was our first trip together. We had a really great time. We went there for like a week, came back, told her all about it, blah 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 blah. Okay, then I think for my birthday he brought me to Pennsylvania, and we had a good time there. I remember she said something about like, hey, like, I hope you're not going to ditch me for your boyfriend and blah blah blah. Just as you remember, I come first. And I'm like, girl, you my best friend. Like, we like, this is just our relationship. And I was just like, just like how you and your dude, I gave y'all time. If you need to cancel on me, I didn't take it personal. I specifically didn't take it personal, but she wasn't one of those persons, because she didn't want me to feel like how she felt when she was her best friend. So she always kept it like, oh, my best friend, my boyfriend, my best friend, my boyfriend. On the other end, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I probably did give more attention to my boyfriend at the time, but we were dating. Like, it was literally the first 4 months of our relationship, right? So we were still getting to know each other. And then me and my best friend, it's not like we hung out every weekend. It's not like, you know, we weren't that. There was some time that we'll go 2 months without talking, like pick it up like we never stopped talking. Like, we were talking yesterday when it was like, bitch, you talked to me 2 months ago, right? So back to the story. Yeah, she made a comment, and she was like, I hope you're not going to ditch me for him or whatever. And I'm like, girl, you're my best friend. Of course not. Like, I love you, blah blah blah. So come around now, January, I remember I had a Christmas party to go to at the job that I was working at the time, and I brought my best friend. I was like, oh, are you coming with me? Like, originally, I was thinking of bringing my boyfriend at the time, but, well, sorry, my boyfriend, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna have more fun with my girl. We haven't really hanged out like that, because she's been going, remind you, she's been going, like, every month since, I started dating. They've been going to Pennsylvania or something. I'm like, I haven't hanged out with her like that. Like, it's going to be a free open bar and free drinks, free food. Like, come on. So we went to the Christmas party and we had fun. Like, we had fun. We're drinking, we're taking shots with my coworkers. It was a blast and everything was great. So she's the one that drove, right? Because I knew that I was going to get late. Okay. So she's the one that drove. I told her to drop me off so on our way home, I told her, hey, drop me off at my boyfriend's house where he was staying, and then she could go, because she was going to go to her boyfriend's house and stay over there. Because she was like, oh, are you going home? And I was thinking, like, okay, where the Christmas party was, it was closer to the Bronx area. Like, it was a hall closer to the Bronx area, and then her boyfriend lived in Queens, and then my boyfriend lived in Long Island. But where I lived in Long Island was like 40 minutes away from where the place was. Where my boyfriend lived in Long Island was like 20 minutes away. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to have her drive all the way 40 minutes to my house and then 40 minutes to go back to Queens to her boyfriend's house. So at least I know, like, my boyfriend he lived closer to Queens. Like, literally Queens was like 10 minutes away. So I knew her boyfriend was 15 minutes away from where my boyfriend was, right? So this is my boyfriend situation. So my boyfriend was closer to the Queens area. I live further out, deep in Long Island. So I was like, all right, drop me off at my boyfriend's house. He'll bring me home in the morning. I'm going to spend the night. Plus, I was tipsy, you know, I want to be with my man, okay? So I was tipsy, and I just dropped me off at his house. So she was like, all right, okay, cool. So I told him, like, hey, I'm outside. I'm with I'm gonna say her name. I'm with Rose. Like, come get me, because I wasn't gonna get out of the car. I was in heels. It was snowing. I remember it was cold AF. Okay, it was cold AF. So he's like, all right, cool. So he came to get me, and I think that was the first time they met. I'm not sure that was the first time they physically met, seeing each other. And then she, she had to do her best friend duties. She was like, take care of my best friend. So you the one. So she was doing all that. It was so funny and cute. And I was like, all right, leave him alone. Let's go. Don't forget, I told her, don't forget to call me and text me when you get to your boyfriend's house, and drive safely. So I think I was being the good friend by not making her drive all the way to my place, because it was closer to drop me at my boyfriend's house. Right? Whatever. So we were given to get me, we enjoyed our night. I slept at his place that night, and then he dropped me home the next day and whatever, right? All right, cool. So we're gonna fast forward throughout the year. Now we're gonna go closer, because I remember it was getting warmer this time, because I wasn't wearing like a heavy jacket. I was wearing my jean jacket. I remember it was the pandemic and everything, and everything was still trying, everything was shut down. We couldn't go anywhere. Blah, 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 right? So I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. We were just talking on the phone, and sometimes she would just come pick me up. I would just be in the car. We'd go to the beach someplace, because you can't go to stores and can't go to certain things. So she was talking, and she was just like, oh, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I miss you too. We started like reminiscing and saying what we're up to. She was still saying that they were going to different states. They were still looking at houses and stuff like that. And I'm like, how is that going? We're catching up. I was telling her about my relationship and stuff like that, right? So we're gonna fast forward. After her birthday, I think we went. I don't know. No, we didn't do anything. I think for her birthday, I think we did something, but I forgot what we did. I don't know. I can't remember back in 2020 what we did for her birthday, but it is what it is. So I remember, this was actually, okay, so fast forward, we're going to go to around June. Things started getting opened back up. One of me and my best friend favorite restaurant was Chili's. I know. Me and her love us some Chili's, because it always has some new drink that they're like, oh, try this, try that, try that. Oh, my foot is killing me. They're like, oh, try this, try that, try that. There's this new drink, blah, blah, blah. We're always trying a new drink. We're always at Chili's. We're always getting like the platter, just eating, drinking, good food, cheap food, and cheap drinks, okay? So we will always go there. So our restaurant reopened was Chili's. And I remember she came in, she was like, oh, let's go to Chili's, go to Chili's. And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay. So we went to, she picked me up, right? She picked me up and we were on our way to Chili's. We were in the car and we were on our way to Chili's. And then there was something that happened. I think it was during I don't know. I think something happened where I went with my boyfriend somewhere for a weekend. Oh, we went to the movies. I remember one weekend me and my boyfriend went to the movies, right? And oh yeah, I remember now. So yeah, it was a movie that we went to. I can't remember what movie it was, but me and my boyfriend, we went to the movies. Me and her planned to do something that weekend. Here's the thing about me and my best friend. We will always plan something, but honestly, I'm that type of person that if you don't keep reminding me, like, oh, remember we're doing this. So let's say me and her plan to go, I don't know, get our toes done or something. And if she doesn't remind me, I'm not going to go because I'm not going to remember. I don't think it's a big deal to, you know, always get my toes done. But I think she wants to hang out and do stuff. And sometimes she even forgets, right? So I remember me and her made plans to do something one weekend. And it just never happened. I don't know if we both forgot. Usually she'd be like, oh, I remember we're supposed to go do this. Oh, and she would remind me, hey, are we still doing X, Y, and Z? And here's the thing about my boyfriend. Oh my God, I love him. Here's the thing about my boyfriend. He said whenever I have plans with my friends, if he says something and I mention like, oh yeah, I have planned, he's like, all right, cool, we'll just do it the next weekend or something. Like he was always okay with me canceling our plans to go to do whatever I needed to do with my friends. And oh, such a sweetheart. So he was that type of person. He didn't really see a big deal out of it because he's like, bro, it's just one day. I see you every other day. So it was no big deal for him. And me and her planned to do something. And I think I forgot. We both forgot because usually she'll text me like, oh, are we still going to do X, Y, and Z? But she never did, guys. When I said she never texted me. And then this thing that we were supposed to do, it was like weeks ago. So by the time we're on our way to Chili's, just know that it's been about like 3 weeks at most, a month at most, all right? 3 weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks, okay? Probably a month. So I remember that same day that me and her were supposed to do something, I said his name. Damn. All right, I would always do something with my boyfriend. My boyfriend would always randomly he'd be like, oh, you want to go to the movies today? I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I'll put on something, you know, we'll go to the movies. So I think it was the movie we went to see that day. And me not hanging out with my best friend, I'm like, oh, me and my boyfriend went to see this movie. And it was really good. Have you seen? Like, I'm just having a conversation. She was like, oh, really? What day we went to see it? And blah, blah, blah. And I told her, like, oh, we went to see this Saturday. And she was like, this Saturday? The date, like she said the actual date. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's Saturday. She was like, remember we're supposed to do X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, really? Like, I was so like, oh, shoot, I forgot. Damn, my bad. I apologize. So I was like, damn, you're right. We weren't supposed to do that. Why didn't you remember? Oh, so you forgot about me. And I knew when she said something like that, she was about to get on my case. So I was like, okay. So I know how she is. It's time to, like, you know, whatever you want today, I got you. I am so sorry. Like, I was really sorry. Like, I really forgot about it. And that was, like, the first time I've ever forgot about, like, a plan that I made with her. And it wasn't, like, a big plan, like, oh, something that I knew that, like, we had to do. So I was like, oh, my bad. I am so sorry. Like, I was really apologizing to her. And then, but she kept on going into me. She was like, you see, you're acting like my ex-best friend. You're ditching me for your boyfriend now. And I was like, I got quiet because remember, I don't like confrontation. She don't care. She gonna come at you. And she gonna come at you. She gonna come at you with everything. And I'm just there sitting listening to her. And she was like, so you're not going to say nothing? And I was like, okay. So me as a person, I don't like to argue with my friends. I'm not going to say that me and my friends are perfect. Of course, we have disagreements. Of course, we have arguments. But I personally don't like to argue with my friends. So I was like, okay. I was like, Rose, you're not going to put me and her in the same group. Okay? You're just not going to do that. You're like, I can't believe that you would compare me to your best friend. Like, I forget one thing, and I'm really deeply sorry for that, but you're not going to compare that me and your best friend are the same because your best friend left you. I'm not leaving you to go for a man. I literally forgot about one thing. And that's the thing, guys. If it was like an ongoing situation where I'm always forgetting about our plans, then I'll understand. But this is my first time, and sometimes I remember I would like, I would tell my boyfriend like, hey, I have a plan with Rose today. We can't do stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I remember like that used to be the case. And then I think this was the first time I actually yelled at Rose. Like, not to say that we've been perfect. Of course, we have our disagreements. But I got so pissed because she was comparing me to her ex-best friend, saying that I'm leaving her for my boyfriend. And that was never the case. That was never the case with our relationship. So I yelled at her and I was like, don't ever do that to me. I am not your ex-best friend. Don't put me in the same group as her. I love you. I would never do that to you. I am sorry I missed that one day, but don't ever do that. Remind you, we're on our way to the restaurant to go eat and stuff like that. And I guess she didn't expect me to come so hard, like to like get so upset about it, because like, I don't know. Y'all tell me if I was wrong here. Like, probably I shouldn't get upset. Probably I should just understood her feelings and stuff like that. But she was like, oh yeah, you're leaving me for you're treating me just like a best friend. You're one of those girls now that like throw your friendships on the side and it's all about the man. And I was never that type of girl. Remember, we've dated other guys over the years, but I was those type of girl. I would have threw all my other relationships onto the side. Okay, every relationship I had, I would have threw them like start running towards them and discard my friends. And I'm not that type of female. And I hate when like other people, they project like the hurt that they had previously, they project it to whoever they had. And I honestly thought that she would never think that way, to like that I was that type of person, because I loved her, guys. And we built such a rapport and such a friendship that I didn't think that this would have been a situation. I didn't think that it would have fallen apart because of me now having a boyfriend. And it's not like it's my first serious boyfriend in our friendship relationship. It's not that this is my first serious boyfriend. It's the second one. So I was kind of taken aback. And then after I pretty much like said what I needed to say to her, it was quiet. And the drive from my house to the Chili's that we always go to wasn't that far. It was like a good 10-15 minutes, the most, depending on traffic. So for the last 5 minutes of the ride, it was quiet and we didn't know what to say to each other. Mind you, I'm in her car. I'm on my way there, and she's not the type of person to just leave me there. So I think when she parked up, when we're at the restaurant, she parked up and she was like, all right, my bad. I didn't mean to compare it to my best friend and blah, blah, blah. So at that point, I knew like, shit, now I have to be careful. Like whenever we have plans and stuff, I have to make sure that I'm on top of it, because now that I know that that's how she's thinking and that's how she's viewing the relationship, I was like, now I have to be careful of what I say. And at some point, I did not want to bring up, like, after that dinner, everything was fine. We at dinner, we talked, caught up and stuff like that. But moving forward, things were never the same again with our relationship. I stopped like bringing up my boyfriend at that time, and sorry, I keep on forgetting. I keep on saying his name, which is my boyfriend. So I eventually stopped bringing up my boyfriend, and like whenever we have plans, I would always confirm. I hated living like that. At that time, I always confirm with her, like, hey, you want to do something, you want to go somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And then she said no. I'll be like, all right, boyfriend, we are good to go. We could go. And and I didn't tell anyone that happened. I didn't tell my boyfriend because he was the type of person too, like, I don't know why, like, I attract people that are more outspoken than I am. I didn't want him to feel like my best friend, and he knew how much I love my best friend. I didn't want him to feel like my best friend didn't like him. Like, I didn't want him to feel like that, but I don't think he would have cared. People like, yo, I'm dating you, not your best friend, so it is what it is. So eventually, me and her, we would still talk, but it's not the same. I would try and be like, oh, you want to hang out, blah, blah, blah. And I remember the last thing, we haven't talked for a few weeks. I remember the last thing I sent to her, I was like, hey, do you want to hang out? And she was like, oh yeah, I'll let you know, blah, 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 blah. I remember also at this time, later down, I found out that she was actually moving out of her parents' house, and she was going to, you know, find an apartment and live with probably a roommate or something, because obviously she couldn't afford to live by herself. And at the time, I was not ready to move out. Okay, so what happened, it was that, like, me and her, we pretty much, like, we kind of, like, not to say that we weren't best friends anymore, because I still considered her my best friend. I can't speak for her. But our conversation died down, and I found out, and I was like, oh, whenever you're moving out and you're getting stuff, let me know. Because I told her that I would take the day off, the couple days off, however long you need me for, I will take that day off, and I will literally go ahead and help her move in, because moving is a lot of work. As a best friend, I wanted to know where she's moving to. She sent me the places that she wanted to look at and she went to look at. And whenever she was ready to move in, she was like, oh, she's going to sign the paper at this date. I was like, oh, let me know. And I remember I hit her up on the date, but she never responded to me. So I'm thinking that it never happened, because, you know, stuff happened. So I didn't think too about it. Then a couple weeks went by, and I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't talked to my best friend so long. And, you know, as I mentioned before, we do have that type of relationship where sometimes we'll probably go sometimes 3 months without talking, and then pick up like, hey, what's up, what you been doing, let's do this. So I remember I hit her up, I was like, oh, hey, let's have brunch this weekend. And she never responded. I didn't see anything wrong with that. I just thought that she was busy. I'm not sure what she was doing, but I'm thinking she's busy, right? Then I hit her up the weekend date, and I said, hey, you still on for brunch? No response. So I was like, all right, let me go hang out with whoever I need to hang out with. I throughout this whole story, guys, I do have other friends. I do go out with them and blah, blah, blah. So, by the time I realized something was really wrong, it was like at the end of summer. So I remember I messaged her and I was like, hey, you good? No response. So at that time, I'm like, okay, something's wrong. She's not responding to me. It's not like her number changed or anything. I was getting worried that something happened to her. And I remember I was calling her, no response. It was just like, what is going on? So I don't know if my boyfriend knew that something was affecting me, but I think he did. And he was like, what's up? Like, why are you acting like this? What happened? And then I told him the whole situation with my best friend and Rose, my best friend, and everything, and what's been going on. And he was getting mad at me, saying that why are you chasing her down? It's obvious she doesn't want to speak to you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Nothing happened. Like, he was like, well, it's not that she was jealous or anything, but I feel like she really still feel like you are choosing me over her. So stop chasing her down. And I'm like, but I was arguing with him too. Oh my God. I remember getting an argument. I'm like, but that's my best friend. Like, what do you mean? I can't let it go like this. Like, that's my girl. Like, no. And now that I think about it, oh God, I'm still kind of sad, bro. Now that I think about it, what he was saying is correct. Like, you shouldn't be chasing down. If it's a real friendship, they should come to you and have that conversation like, hey, I don't want this friendship anymore. Don't just leave me on red, or don't just like ignore my calls and make me want to chase you down, right? So eventually I stopped calling her. I was like, okay, so she'll probably, when she's ready, she'll talk. I had in my head that like when she's ready, she'll talk to me. Like, It is what it is. And this is sometimes I couldn't show up to her place because the only place I knew that she lived at was her parents' house, and I could not show up to her parents' house. Her parents were really strict. And I didn't want to, and I've never done it in the past. She always come to my place, but I've been to her place a few times, but it's only when her family's not there. So it's always a situation where she'll come to me and she'll stay by me, or she's staying the night or whatever, or we got a hotel if we're going places. Like it was just always one of those situations. So it wasn't anything where I could just show up at her house and say, hey, what's wrong? So, and I'm not sure she actually did move out, because when I did tell her to message me when she was moving out, nothing happened, right? Oh God. So when I knew things were officially like bad, so my birthday is December 3rd, right? So usually on our birthdays, either I'm the first person to text her, or she's the first person to text me or call, whatever situation. So when December 3rd came, I remember the first person to text or call me that day was my sister, my younger sister. And I was like, when I look at the time, it was 12:16. I'm like, wait a minute, it's almost 20 minutes in, and my best friend hasn't messaged me. What the hell is going on? And then other people, obviously, like throughout the day, morning came and everything. Throughout the day, people were texting me, like people that loved me, people that knew me, happy birthday, blah, 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 this, that, and that. And then throughout the day, as the day is going down, I'm looking out for that text message from her. And I'm like, where's my best friend? Why is she not texting me? Why is she not messaging me? Like, what's going on? She wasn't someone that was on social media like that. Like she wasn't on Instagram, she wasn't on Twitter, she wasn't on Facebook. That she was never a social media type of person, right? So I couldn't like stalk her on social media and see as she's like posting just to see what's going on or anything like that. So the only communication we had was text message. And then eventually it's the end of the day, like it's probably like 10 o'clock, and I'm like, and I turned to my boyfriend, I'm like, I'm about to call my best friend. And he's like, wait, what happened? Why? And I'm like, she hasn't texted me all day, and I just want to make sure that everything is okay with her, because usually she's the first person to message me on my day, or me on the other day. So he's like, seriously, she didn't message you? She didn't say happy birthday, nothing? I was like, no, I'm really worried. Like, I really want to know what's going on. What happened? Where did we go wrong? Let's try and fix this. That's my best friend. And he was so mad at me. I remember, like, I was crying, like, he took my phone away from me, guys. I was crying. I was like, give me my phone. Oh my God, I need to call her. And he's like, no. Like, she's telling you how she feels, and she's obviously ending the relationship. And I'm like, no, she can't end the relationship. We've been friends for years. Like, I'm not someone to let go of friendship or even relationship easy. Like, if I feel like we've had time in, like, come on now, you're my friend. So he's like, no. So yeah, we were literally talking, and he was like, no, you're not going to call her, you're not going to text her, you're not going to do nothing. You're texting somebody on your birthday asking them what or if they're good. Like, no. So that night, I remember I cried myself to sleep. Like, I was so heartbroken on my birthday. I remember I was so heartbroken. And then eventually it got easier and easier. And then Christmas came. No Merry Christmas, no Happy New Year. And then I remember that year, I moved to Atlanta. So yeah, I'm in Atlanta now. I'm living with my boyfriend. We're still together. Like, with a house out here and everything. So now we're living as a couple. And yeah, that year, I told the mutual friend that introduced us, I told her the whole story. Like, I told her, like, from top to beginning. I told her, like, she knew, like, a lot of stuff already, but she didn't know that our friendship pretty much stopped. So I told her, like, hey, this really happened. I pretty much told her from the time when me and my boyfriend, I keep saying his name, start, talking and how that relationship was. And she was pretty much I remember, this is someone that's friends with both of us. Like, she was obviously closer to me, but she's the one that introduced me to her, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, this is a mutual person that doesn't have anything, like this is someone that like would be honest with me to let me know, should I reach out to her? So she was like, don't reach out to her. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm coming to you for you to encourage me to reach out to her, but you're telling me not to reach out to her. Like, what? So like, yeah, your boyfriend is right. Don't reach out to her. Just leave it be. Remind you, this is someone that's with me. We spent New Year's together because she came to Atlanta to visit and whatever, and we spent the time she stayed here while she was here. So I was telling her the story, and she was like, yeah, don't reach out to her. It looks like she already told you what she really wanted, blah, blah, blah. So yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much like how our friendship ended. To this day, because now we're almost in 2023 next month, and I'm still butthurt that our relationship, our friendship ended, because that was literally a whole relationship right there. Like, it's really true what they say, that the friendship relationship is really what hurt the most. And remember, guys, I told you before, she is someone that will cut you off in a blink of an eye, and I never thought that she would do that to me, but she did. She, no second thoughts about it, no explanation, nothing. That's pretty much how she is. And I knew that if she was willing to do it to her own mom and her family, even though I knew the situation, that she would do that to her friends too. And I just never thought that I would be one of that, because it's always been me and her through everything. It's always me and her, like, planning stuff. We're planning our life together when we have kids, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm going through my, pretty much, I'm 29 now. Just turned 29 December 3rd, that passed. And I really thought that me and her would have been thick as thieves, still going strong, still doing what we need to do. Sure, we would probably live in different states, but that never stopped any other relationship. I have my friend, she was recently here. She's not having a baby, bro. Like, the one that introduced us, she's not having a baby. She lives in Florida. She just came and spent Thanksgiving here. Like, and I live in Atlanta. Like, we all I have another friend live in Jersey, and I'm still close to her. I have my other friend that live in New York. Whenever I go to New York, I make sure I make time for them. I see them. Like, I it's not like I like to let go of friendship, because it's so hard to meet genuine friends, especially if you're in a new area. So when I have my friendship that I knew I grew up with, I tend to keep those people around, because if, as I mentioned, if I love you, I love you hard. And when I tell you I love that girl, like, that girl, bro, I loved her. And she was like, literally, I thought my ex, when we broke up, hurt. Nah, that friendship relationship, that's the real killer. And the fact that I still don't know, it's always the like, okay, what did I do? I didn't have a chance to fix myself. To this day, I be wanting to just like pick up the phone and call her just to see. Like, I literally had half a mind to just like, you know, call her one day just on my boyfriend phone just to see. But I'm like, I'm not gonna do that, because it's gonna hurt me more. Because if I knew that she's just not doing it because she's not talking to me because she doesn't want to, I just don't want confirmation that that's the reason why she's not talking to me. Let me just say that. But yeah. Yo, this story is like an hour conversation, but I guess we could have a conversation in the comments. If you watch this video, we could have a conversation in the comments. Like, tell me what I did wrong. Tell me if I should reach out to her, because I still haven't reached out to her yet since everything went down. Everybody encouraged me not to, because they know the type of person I am, but I'm still like wondering, should I just reach out? Should I just see what happened? At this point, I know that our friendship is over. Like, bro, it's been 2 years. We haven't really spoke. Every time, my mom always asks me, like, how is Rose? I'm like, oh, she's good. She with her boyfriend. I'm like, I hope that's the case, because my mom will see this video. But yeah, that's the story of me and how I lost my friendship with my best friend. And to this day, I'm butthurt. Like, I'm really butthurt about that relationship. But, you know, people are in your life for a lifetime, a reason, for a season, whatever that saying is. And unfortunately, I guess our season of that friendship ended. My best friend today is my boyfriend. I love him to death. I also have a best friend here. I'm about to be a godmommy soon. Yes, I love her to death. And I have another best friend that is in the East Coast, and I love them to death. Like honestly, I feel like all my friendship now that I have, I love. Like, sure, it's not the same as when I was like in high school and stuff like that, when I was younger, but it's a growing friendship. And we don't always have to be next to each other. We don't always have to be dependent on each other and stuff like that. I would love to have my friendship that I had with my best friend Rose, but because when I tell you she knew everything about me, like we were really like bench and body. Like that was my friend. And I miss the relationship. I miss us, I miss her, but sometimes you can't force people, and you can't keep begging for a situation that you know is just not going to work out, and that's just what it was with her. But yeah, I'm just rambling now. Let's have a conversation and see. You tell me. Probably I was wrong. Maybe I did abandon the relationship and focus more on my boyfriend, which I shouldn't have, but hey, I can't redo the past. I could only move forward. So let's have a conversation if you'd like to see how I could move forward. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you like, comment, subscribe if you want. I would really appreciate it. And share this video. And yeah, let's have a conversation in the comment section or wherever, and see if I'm incorrect about how I feel, or if I'm valid, or if you agree with my friends and my boyfriend to say that like, yo, leave that relationship, or if I should just reach out to her. Let's just have that. But yeah, thank you. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's when I call. Blessings and love to all. Bye.